Gardner and 015 Thomas Mazera. Some new faces, new cars is Alan Jones in the 35 car, Jimmy Richards there, the winner of the Peter Jackson Dash, Neil Crompton in the 7 car, Brocky back in 10, and we're about set to go now. Fans cheering in the grandstand. Who's going to separate the forwards? It will be Larry Perkins. The old Bathurst wet weather trick down the outside in the Castrol machine. The crowd erupts as the Falcon is split by a couple of Commodores, with Thomas Mazera trying to get into the action and the Rainmaster Jim Richards in there as well. Bowe doesn't want to give this one up, and he gets sideways.
He's gone.
Thomas has done the launch, ex-Lakeside, heading downhill, but he doesn't catch the guardrail. Back down through the gears. He's out there having fun trying to work out which direction the track went in.
You better be careful, he'll stall it.
Trying to get your power, a bit of traction on that greasy grass. Anyway, this is where the action is. Larry Perkins, an absolutely lightning start off the grid. Leads the first of the Shell Falcons through the spray, and look at the amount of rain there. Is that Brocky on the way through? Yeah, Peter Brock making a good start from 10th position too. As they come up for the first time, Bowe has a good look down the inside. Wipers working hard, spray pouring off the tyres, and Larry will lead them down toward Dandenong Road for the first time. And look at the amount of water on the track, Alan.
Unreal, man. It is really coming down. There's no one out there with the intermediates or groove slicks today. This is full rain tyres.
And the thing about Bathurst, the difference being that with the hills at Bathurst, and at least somewhere where the water can run off, this is basically flat here, and it's just sitting here all day long.
A lot of puddles there. Larry understeered into that corner. His left front was locked up, hit a puddle, but fending off Bowe here at the moment. John had a incident this morning in practice, landed up in the sand.
Just wait for the reaction of the crowd as Larry Perkins comes across the line. Oh, they love a battle here between a Ford and a Commodore. They're all to their feet as Perkins across the straight leads the first lap. Bowe in second. Wayne Gardner, a good run there up into third, followed by Jimmy Richards. Then it's Peter Brock, who's probably the best starter of the lot out of position number 10.
Well, Commodore would not seem to be too bad a package to hear the Peter Jackson Dash, and indeed the warm-up was anything to go by. Larry Perkins, 4th fastest this morning in the wet. Thomas Mazera, Jim Richards, both fastest, and Johnny Bowe was only 3rd fastest this morning. So it looks like the Commodores may have turned the tables in the wet. And you look at the amount of wing that Larry Perkins running on the back of this car. He's got it right up steep. Look at the angle there.
He's pushing all he can get, all the air he can push down to get some grip onto the rear of that car. John Bowe just taking, I think, discretion, the better part of valor.
There's Claude Georgie from Western Australia, who bought one of the Glen Seton cars. He's had a little spin down there. That's not too hard. And Thomas Mazera has rejoined the field and runs in 20th position at the tail. As we watch this fascinating scrap between Larry Perkins and John Bowe.
Good shot there of the new aero packs on both cars. The front air dam on the Commodore almost looks a bit like an Aston Martin to me, Mark. She's got a very distinctive opening there for radiator cooling. John Bowe still just shadowing Larry, not taking any chances. There's too many puddles on the track, and not the place to be getting too cozy with a car in front of you.
Opportunity is showing up there as we went past the start-finishing line, full tilt, down to the left-hander, and just look at the water being squeegeed out from the tyres of the front running 2 cars.
Have a look at the speed of the windscreen wiper on the Shell car, and it is really cranking that screen clean. Almost twice as fast as Larry's.
Doesn't seem to matter whether it's dry or wet at Sandown. This has really proven to be a Dunlop circuit, as it has for a number of times. The leading 3 cars on Dunlops here. Jimmy Richards in 4th, the first of the Yokohama cars. Brock now up to 5th on the Bridgestone shod Commodore. So a good mix of tyres in here too, and boy, they're working hard trying to squelch this water out of the way.
Well, Dunlop are under a lot of pressure with their tyre supply this year. The earthquake in Kobe was downtown Dunlop City, and really later in the year supplies for the Dunlop teams are going to be quite critical.
Well, this is the time to try and make a few moves, I guess, while they've got a few stocks left. There's Wayne Gardner, good start from Wayne, running very strongly in the new Coca-Cola VR, and Jimmy Richards showing that great form he's always shown in wet weather in 4th position. Larry leads Bowe back onto the straight. This great dice. These 2 cars look very evenly matched at the moment, Alan.
They certainly do, and 2 fellows that aren't shy at Sandown. I think John Bowe always excels at Sandown. Larry's always liked it. Great many miles. I hate to think how many laps Larry's got around this place. But John Bowe just casing the situation at the moment. He knows he's got a real competitor in front of him. He's not...
Whoa! It's very sideways and he's going into the sand, is he?
He's gone.
He's on the grass still. Can he keep it going? Oh, keep going, John. Car slipped by, but he's managed. Looks like the engine's still going. He's on the ripple strip now.
It's good. Well, it's very critical corner. It's critical in the dry. In the wet, you can imagine the judgment factor. He's following Larry. He thinks, well, he can do it, I can do it, but just slightly different car balance, and naturally two different types of cars, two different teams. The cars aren't going to be the same at all. But Larry took a real brave move through there. John tried to follow, and he couldn't do it.
Very, very long lose, and you can see he almost held it.
He fought it. He tried hard.
Yeah. But look at this situation now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Holden 5. Holden Commodores at the front. Johnson the first. The Falcons at 6. And this will be a turn up for the books. The last Holden win in Australian touring car racing was at Wanneroo last year. They've had a real missing streak right through the endurance races.
Bit of a drought. No drought here today with the rain down.
Actually, how has this played into the hands of Mark Skaife, who was missing from action today after that practice wreck at Eastern Creek? Handed the car over to Jimmy Richards. It will sit out this one. He'll come back at Seven's place, but it really needed for Mark Skaife, for a couple of these guys to jumble up the placings here today. You would have thought that John Bowe may have gone through the entire meeting unbeaten, including the dash after quick time yesterday. But how things can change. And now we have Larry Perkins up leading this one, and the battle for second is in fact between Wayne Gardner's Coca-Cola Commodore and the Winfield Commodore with Jimmy Richards carrying the number 2.
Richards is definitely trying. You can see him, that's not out of control. He's powering the car into that oversteer slide, and to be doing that in these conditions is a fairly remarkable move.
John Bowe back to 9th, and Peter Brock has moved to 4th from starting out of 10. And there's Brocky there, with Dick Johnson behind him.
They're not out of it, Mike. The slightest misdemeanor by any of these fellows in front, and they'll freight train themselves straight into the caboose.
So the gap the last time across the start-finish line between Perkins and Gardner in second place, just over 4 seconds. So let's see if he can maintain that gap under these conditions.
Here's Brocky down through the S's. It's hairy enough through here in the dry, but to be picking the balance necessary to keep these things on track. 1,300 kilos. They are heavy cars. These are no Volkswagens. And believe me, these fellows are using every ounce of energy, skill, and patience that they know to control these cars in these kind of conditions.
We've just been really struggling all weekend. Very unruly sort of chassis, the 05 Commodores. In fact, the car he crashed at Bathurst now been reskinned as a VR, but he was saying yesterday that the setup required chassis-wise is so different between this and the older car of Thomas's, mainly because this car is so much stiffer, and he's really having quite a trouble dialing the car in the way he likes it. There's Dickie Johnson, car 17, as he comes across the start-finish line in 5th position. So it's 4 Commodores and a Falcon, and right behind Johnson's Glenn Seton.
Well, yesterday's performance by both Dick and John, you would have thought that it was going to be a shell cakewalk here today, but certainly the rain brings the best out in every team there. Whoa. Dick sliding it around. None of these fellows are very shy about throwing these cars around.
Well, if you saw at Bathurst, we take Dunlop race camera with Dick, as he just takes a little glance up in the rear-view mirror. See if Seton's lurking in the spray there, but there's not a lot of vision out of the front of these cars.
Across the line again, Larry Perkins starting to stretch that lead just a little over Wayne Gardner and Jimmy Richards. Brock up to 4th, Johnson is 5th, Seton is 6th, followed by Crompton in 7th, Jones is 8th, Bowe is 9th, Tony Longhurst is 10th. That's the top 10 as they work heat number 1 of the opening round of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship at Sandown. Excuse for believing you're watching a race in the UK this afternoon. This is summer in Australia.
We might be in the Netherlands with one of the dikes broken. It is certainly tough going here.
Look at this, Johnny Bowe coming charging back through the field. He's just taken Crompton. He was 8th, and that moves him up to 7th position. So John on a recovery drive after losing it at turn 1 in the spray. And he'll be kicking himself. He's been so pumped this weekend. He really can see this as his championship year. He's got a dynamite package. And once again, his season has started off badly as it did last year.
There's Neil Crompton going through in the number 7 car. That is not the place. Steve Reed, the Trevor Ashby Dulux Auto Colour Commodore.
He's had it.
You won't find too many fishermen on the beach using these to carry their rods around. They're not too good when they get on the sand.
Gee, I hope he can get out before the tide comes in.
And Steve is stuck there for the rest of the race, I'm afraid.
Going to need a tractor to get that one out.
Yep, you can shut the engine off and turn the wipers off. It's going nowhere. Jimmy Richards still runs third on the road in the Winfield Commodore. Peter Brock is closing on him. And in fact, Wayne Gardner is getting away from Jim Richards, and I think maybe even starting to make some inroads on Larry Perkins.
Yeah, we'll monitor that gap as they come across the start line once again. But the gap out about 5.96 seconds at the moment between Perkins and Gardner. But a great showing from Wayne. Jimmy Richards now in third. The team's brand new VR Commodore. And look at that, Peter Brock.
Sneaking up.
Getting very close. He was complaining about the chassis setup yesterday in the drive. It looks like the Mobile 05 is working very well in the wet today, Alan.
Tires are starting to get some grip into them. I don't know that they didn't always have some grip, but they're certainly warmer and potentially more grip than obviously the first couple of rounds.
Now, is Wayne Gardner making inroads? 3.4 seconds the gap behind Perkins that time around, so he's chopped 3 seconds out of Larry's lead. Gardner is on a real charge here in the wet.
Well, I can tell you Perkins is a real calculating driver, and he'll know exactly how many laps he's got to do.
Oops.
He may be driving at the slowest possible speed.
Claude Georgie from Western Australia trying to stay out of harm's way. Just balked a couple of cars momentarily.
Here comes Glenn Seton. Just pick his way out of the spray there too. Just out from behind Georgie. So there he is with the headlights on. Seton charging through, trying to make some impression on Brock. So the gaps between the cars really concertining as the way through. So there's Brocky up the inside.
Here's a go.
Not close enough here. Maybe the next lap through.
Tire rules are out the door in these conditions. The teams can choose any tire, any wet weather tire they want. So the drivers, certainly with brand new tires, able to thrash them in this heat, knowing they can throw another set on for the next heat. And everybody, Rocky's definitely letting Jim know he'd like to
pass and in a hurry.
Two of the most experienced drivers you'll ever see in the wet. Brock climbs right onto the back of the Winfield Commodore as they come onto the main straight once again. Larry Perkins, meanwhile, just gone across the start finish line. Brock up the inside, side by side between the Mobile car and the Winfield car.
Listen to the crowd here.
The grandstand gets to its feet. It's a drag race. Brock's got half a nose in front as they go through the spray. Under brakes, watch him over the bumps here. Brock's a tad in front. Richards survives to race another day. He tucks in behind Brock, but he's going to give him plenty of carry in the rearview mirror as they come out of the corner.
Championship driving champion fellows.
Well,
Larry, great racing.
Larry may have been held up on that previous lap. The gap out to 4.1 seconds now.
And Glenn Seton has arrived to make it a three-way party as well in the Peter Jackson car. The exit out of NGK and now up the back straight. We'll see if Seton has anything left in his attack. Look at the way the Brockies, he's scalded away from Jimmy Richards.
Well, there's been a bit of criticism of this new Holden aerodynamic package, but certainly in the wet weather, that's a pretty good telling factor of how well the downforce is working. And the Commodores at the moment are absolutely dominant. 1, 2, 3, 4. Seton the first, the Falcons in fifth.
Here we are, Dandenong Road. Little bump there on the inside. Jim Richards throws it wide, just narrowly misses the curbs on the. Don't want to be hitting those curbs in these conditions. In the dry, the fellows will use them, ride up on them, and slingshot themselves out of the corner. But not today. You can see they're very, very tidy.
Well, there's a howling gale here. The flags are blowing, as you can see, and through the mist and the mire, it's Larry Perkins in the Castrol Commodore, and he leads the first race. Let's check them out for you on our Shell race score. It's Lightning Larry, Bathurst revisited, leading from Wayne Gardner. Super ride from Wayne. In third at the moment is Peter Brock. Fourth is Jimmy Richards, and now up to 5, it's Glenn Seton. Straight at Sandown. And it's Glenn Seton all over the tail of Jim Richards. He's been sitting there for the last couple of laps. Can't do anything about it, though. Richards is really the rain master in these conditions. And that aero pack seems to be working very comfortably on the Winfield Commodore.
I don't think there's any doubt that both packs are working well, Mike. It's just in the rain there are so many other little ifs, ands, and buts that cause so many problems, not the least of which is the concern the drivers have got.
Well, I think what Glenn would like to do is get past Jim if he possibly could, because just catching them now is one John Bowe, who dropped back and is coming back, storming through this field. There he is.
Well, John showed the potential that both he and Dick exercised yesterday by putting their Shell cars on the front row, and just apart from that little oops at the end of the straight, John Bowe is definitely howling through this field.
No shortage of mumbo from the Winfield Chevy there too, as they pick their way up toward turn 1. And look at the rain on the camera lens there. Nothing we can do about that, I'm afraid. There's gusty wind. There's Alan Grice.
Has parked it. He's obviously stalled in a nasty spot.
Yeah, he's
fortunately not too fast. The fellows can see him, and they have to go.
Oh, there's another one.
Oh, maybe he didn't see him.
Young Romano's taken off for the scrub too. Plenty of puddles and mud out there, but he's managed to gather it up, kept it going. Well done for Paul Romano.
Yeah, that's Baps Boy having his first run. An absolute standout performer in karting. And he's doing the entire touring car championship season, making Bap a pretty proud old dad.
Thomas Mazera in trouble too. He's headed pit lane. Mobile mechanics crawl over the car, but that doesn't look like it's going to be doing too much activity for the rest of Heat 1.
Hate to see that, a fellow lose a DNF in the first round of the championship.
Oh, look, there's another one.
Ooh, just recovered.
This is a really dangerous situation here with the marshals trying to push the car off, the lack of visibility, the car's slipping and sliding everywhere.
Let's go to Andy in the pits with Thomas Mazera.
Yeah, thanks very much, Mike. As you can see behind me, the 015 HRT car is being put back into the pit enclosure, back into the garage. Thomas Mazera, you came together with John Bowe early on to cause some steering problems.
Yeah, like in the first corner I came together with John a little and I came worst off, and since then I had a steering wheel on the side, but then it was getting worse and the car started to snail even in a straight line, and I decided just to pull it in, but the conditions so bad out there, it's absolutely silly to race in this.
You'll be back for heat number 2?
Yeah, we'll be back, but let's hope the weather gets a bit better.
There's Neil Crompton, car number 7, just in front. Car number 38, Mark Poole, also running the Touring Car Championship. It's good to see some fresh young faces, privateers running the series this year. Mark, of course, well known because of his Formula Brabham racing. And here he is working up on the inside. This is fiery baptism, but he's managed to handle this okay.
It doesn't take on Neil Crompton without some degree of effort, and well done there.
And that has moved him up to 10th. Crompton goes back to 11th. He's obviously doing it tough, and so is Mark, but he's managed to get past Neil Crompton's Coke Commodore. Our race cam shows the problem. If you're Neil Crompton, the wipers are on the blink.
Boy, that's brave stuff, and that is damn hard. Really hard. He's very lucky even to be. He's showing guts and determination, just trying to breathe through, and it's okay in the slower corners.
Look how much that steering wheel is trying to rub the screen.
Can't reach it.
It's Dick Johnson, car number 17, making a run at Seton. Seton running 6th on the road at the moment. Johnson just behind him in 17, and John Bowe is in 5th at the moment. Bowe's next victim, if he can gain enough ground, will be Jimmy Richards. So that has been quite a remarkable drive. There's the vision. We're on the wrong side of the car, but there's the John Trimble Daily Planet car 47 getting the blow-by from Dick Johnson. And young Romano has gone off at the end of the straight by the look of it, and has buried the car up to its hocks in sand. The rest of the field goes by. So you got 2 in down there.
Well, this is one place where into the straight braking is difficult enough in the dry.
Dunlop race cam, and Johnson has indeed pushed his way past the Peter Jackson Ford there, so Dick moves up another position.
See the car as he brought the power on, the tail wobbled out on him.
And look at the lights on there. That's Tony Longhurst in the brand new Castrol Falcon. Oh, look at the way it twitches under power there. He's really wrestling it in these conditions. But a great effort there. The car was built in 12 weeks, Alan.
Tremendous.
I tell you what, if you think about it, Longhurst started well down the field here, and he's coming with a withering run. He's now moved up on the tail of Glenn Seton. First run ever for Tony. He's aboard a Ford, the Castrol machine. Watch him duck here on the inside. I'm here, Glenn.
Well, Glenn's in plenty of trouble. He's just letting cars file through on the inside all over the place. So I don't know whether he's struggling for grip or whether he's got some sort of mechanical problem.
I'll tell you what, anyone that's running a Ford, particularly Glenn Seton's team, that will be the thing just to give you a buzz. Tony Longhurst in a brand new Falcon going past you.
On his first outing, yes.
Yep.
They have done a fantastic job. They were still actually finishing the car when they rolled it off the transporter here at Sandown, just screwing little bits and pieces onto it before they went out for practice. It is absolutely brand new, and to see Tony doing so well and running so strongly, he's up to 7th position now. So come across the start-finish line, a stunning effort from Tony.
I tell you, the way he's going, Dick Johnson is just ahead of him. and Longhurst has been closing. The headlights are blaring.
Could possibly get into the top 6 here without too much trouble.
Look at the way it's grappling for grip under power. It really is wrestling this car. He's got it by the scruff of the neck. But he's certainly renowned as one of our most aggressive touring car drivers, and he's showing it here. Really pumped Tony is about V8 racing for 1995 and beyond. And this is a stunning looking package, his new Castrol Falcon. Look at the way it squirms under power. It really is quite twitchy as he comes onto the back straight here and picks his way through the puddles.
Sounds good too, Al.
It does sound good. Well, I've never heard a Ford that doesn't sound too good.
Oh, yeah.
Put him in the cupboard. So Longhurst closes on Dick Johnson, looking for 6th spot in the opening leg of the Shell Touring Car Nationals today. They have 7 laps remaining, so there's plenty of time to do it.
He can do it. He's driving hard. Yokohama, a career-long sponsor, helping him put this package together along with Castrol.
There's Larry leading this one, the Castrol Commodore. Tell you what, these two Castrol boys have really spoiled the Shell party today, let me tell you.
Sure have.
Dick Johnson, Tony Longhurst, serious about passing, but Tony was all over the place before. The car looked like it aquaplaned very seriously on the front straight. Some fresh hubba-dubba rubber for the Glenn Seton team as we pick up on Tony trying to work to the outside here as they come up the back straight. And I don't think Dick would be very pleased in the wet to have this new Falcon also monstering him. So it's a sign of the competitive times in touring car racing. Tony says, all right, you go to the outside, I'll have a shot down here on the inside.
Boy, that is...
This car looks very, very twitchy in the rain. Tony obviously hasn't had a lot of time to have a play around with the suspension. It would have been a real pin the tail on the donkey stuff for the wet.
Well, he's got a good set of rubber. He's very confident. He reminds me he's driving it like he used to drive the BMWs. He really is throwing it around aggressively.
That's the way he's approaching the setup for the car, Alan. He's not in the slightest bit perturbed by the fact it's 1,300 kilos and it's a big, heavy thing. He wants to set it up so it responds as vigorously as the M3. That's what he wants to pursue.
Watch him on the straight this time. He aquaplaned last time. Johnson's got a spurt on too.
Yes, his rear view mirror is working. It's showing flashing lights.
Well, Tony just caught him in an enormous leap over a couple of laps, but Johnson has responded quite magnificently here. He was just about to fall into the clutches of him, but he's really got the pedal down now. This is the battle for 6th and 7th. Johnson in 6th with Perkins, Gardner, Brock, Richards and Bowe ahead of him.
Watch the water here.
It's all over the road here.
The puddles are really getting quite deep there. Little squirt, they're giving it on the approach to NGK and then up the back straight. No one taking that curve. In qualifying yesterday, they were in the dirt on the other side of that curve, but not this afternoon.
Dick's car's aquaplaning, and here comes... Oh, what about this for him? He knows he's there now.
The aerodynamics still work. Tony dragging him up the back straight, but boy.
Oh, how about that for a pass? Dunlop Racecam showed you that. As Tony Longhurst was able to get by Dick Johnson.
Doing it well.
Looks like Alan Jones in the pits.
Deciding he wants new tyres again.
That's interesting. They're having to rub the condensation off the inside of the screen. They fitted demisters to these cars to try and cure that problem, but obviously the rain is just so heavy and there's so much mist inside the car from all the heat there.
Heat in the engine that soaks up under the dash and just drives. There isn't a foolproof method yet. Everybody tries this, and you won't see a team that doesn't. I used to carry a rag between my legs on a rainy day.
Oh, the hands out the window. Brocky's back.
We know that side.
He's coming up to, by the look of it, put a lap on Greg Crick, the Tasmanian, also in a Castrol Commodore.
Yes, Greg's bringing his own sponsor along for the second race of the year, but without contracts exactly in place yet, I thought it was a good idea to run it with the Castrol colours for the final time. So we've got 3 Castrol cars on the track for the opening round of the championship. Brock sneaks through on the outside.
He gave it a good squirt pass there.
He's moving. He knows he's sitting in 4th spot there. He'd like to move her up.
In 3rd spot, I think.
3rd now. Okay.
Jimmy Richards still hasn't been able to make an impression on him, so he's still in 3rd, 17 seconds behind Wayne Gardner in 2nd, who is a further 12 seconds behind Larry Perkins. So the rain really does have the tendency to open up the fields, which traditionally in this category run bumper to bumper.
Well, horsepower is not so much a critical factor. You can be down a few and your handling can make up a lot. Your tires will make up an enormous amount, of course, and your driver will make up a lot.
Here's Perkins.
Be careful, Larry.
Putting a lap on Glenn Seton in car number 30.
That doesn't happen very often in an Australian Touring Car Championship to see Glenn Seton lapped.
A bit of a disastrous start for the Peter Jackson team at Sandown today, but everything's coming up roses for Castrol team, whether it be Larry Perkins or Tony Longhurst with his Ford team under the same banner. And the order, still Larry Perkins in front. A good start to the championship for Larry, keeping in mind he picked up points out of the dash after finishing back there this morning in third. And Wayne Gardner in car number 4, the Coca-Cola car.
We're going to see a lot more from this Coke team this year. I think they really did a superb job in their inaugural year last year, and they're fired up, both Wayne and Crompton.
Yeah. Keep in mind too that they still haven't got their new Rob Benson prepared Chevy engines. They'll come on stream for Simmons Plains. The main complaint they've had for most of the first year was they felt they were lacking in horsepower due to lack of development time and other problems. So by the time you come to Simmons Plains, you'll see the full 95 spec Coca-Cola cars, and they'll be very, very strong, I'm sure, throughout the championship.
A bit more lightning under the bonnet.
Here's our man coming up the back straight, Larry Perkins. Half a lap to go at Sandown for heat number 1 of the opening round of the Shell Touring Car Nationals. He's given them a hiding here today in the opening round, and also a fabulous drive from Wayne Gardner. So it's going to be Commodores 1, 2 and 3, make that 4, and then John Bowe, who looked like he had a top 3 spot sewn up, only to spin off in the bottom corner. This has put a cat amongst the pigeons, let me tell you.
Here's Alan Jones with a bit of a wreck on his hands.
He's had a nose job there by the look of it. The Falcon, that is. Past the pits for the final time. Give us a little bit of sideways material from Larry Perkins. Little demo. Will he be happy? Watch the crowd as he comes across the line. The Commodore has won, but not the factory. It's the privateer. Larry Perkins in the wet. Few equals to that. Second place will go to Wayne Gardner in the Coca-Cola Commodore. And a distant third back there will be Peter Brock in the HRT mobile machine. Then Richards, Bowe, Longhurst, Johnson, Poole, Smurden and Seton. Checking them out now on our Shell race score. Larrikin Larry in the Castrol Commodore tastes victory in heat number 1. Wayne Gardner finds second spot in the Coca-Cola Commodore. Peter Brock finished third. Jimmy Richards always there for fourth. And a great comeback drive from John Bowe, who rounds out the 5.